Woman, be who you are. You can be who you are. With Christ in your heart, you'll set the world on fire. Woman, there's no greater power than he who's working in you. Woman.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is Woman, the show about faith and authentic beauty. I'm Lisa Mladinich, your host, and today's topic is creative friendships. And in a few minutes, I'll introduce our two very special guests, Amy Welborn and Engelhart. But first, let's meet the panel. This is Andrea Vasquez. She is a youth speaker. She's traveled the world as a missionary and speaks multiple languages, and she's a program coordinator here with Shalom World Media. An amazing young woman, and I'm so happy you're here with us.
Thank you so much, Lisa. As always, it's very exciting to be here. I'd like to introduce our other panelist, Christie Young. She is the Associate Director for Ministry at Christ the King Retreat Center, and she's a very talented young person. Among her talents is singing, songwriting, and she's actually responsible for our cover song that we just heard. So very happy to have you, Christie.
Thank you. Happy to be here. And this is Lisa Mladinich. She is a wonderful author. She wrote the book, bestseller, True Radiance, Finding Grace in the Second Half of Life. She's also a frequent contributor to Relevant Radio. She speaks across the country, and she's the founder of AmazingCatechist.com.
Thank you. Amy Welborn is a freelance writer and the author of over 20 books, a bunch of which I own, including the Catholic Woman's Book of Days, The Words We Pray, the Loyola Kids Book of Saints, and the Prove It series of apologetics for teens. Buy these if you have teens. With artist Engelhart, she has written 4 picture books for children, Friendship with Jesus, Be Saints, Bambinelli Sunday, and Adventures in Assisi. She lives in Birmingham, Alabama. Her website is www.amywellborn.com. Anne Cassane Engelhart is an accomplished watercolor artist, illustrator, and educator. She has illustrated several books with writer Amy Welborn, including Bambinelli Sunday, Adventures in Assisi, Friendship with Jesus, and Be Saints. She has also collaborated recently with Nancy Carpentier-Brown and Regina Doman on The Chestertons and The Golden Key. Her portraits, still life, and landscape paintings are featured in galleries and private collections. She lives in Long Island, New York, with her husband and children. Her artwork is unbelievable. Welcome to the program, ladies, and thank you so much for being here. It's tough enough getting people as busy as you are on the show, but together, that was a work of great artistry.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're most welcome. Amy, maybe you'd like to start and talk about how the two of you found each other. What happened?
Well, it's actually would make more sense for Anne to tell the story, but I'll tell it from my perspective. Many years ago, maybe Anne can maybe clarify, maybe it was 10 years ago, I think. I was writing books and blogging, and I got an email from this person, this artist up in Long Island, who said she'd been reading my blog, and she noted that I was a fan or a person who really appreciated the thought and the speeches of Pope Benedict XVI. And she said she was too, and that she had noted that he had done a dialogue with children who had just received First Communion. And it occurred to her that this would be a great children's book, and would I be interested? And at the time, I thought it was a great idea, but I think I was doing a lot of other things, and I procrastinated, and I didn't answer her right away. But Anne is very persistent. God bless her. And she came after me in a really nice way and finally sent me some of her art, which was just gorgeous. Yeah. And so I had to say yes. And that was the beginning of, our working relationship, which I think has been very fruitful. And I think even more importantly, maybe a great friendship. I mean, I consider Anne one of my best friends. And we met through that medium, which can be capable of so much terrible things, the internet. But in our case, and in many other cases, worked for good.
That's absolutely true. We sort of consecrate it to a good use.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I threaten to get off Facebook, and everyone says, no, we need to stay. We need to camp out here and make it a holy place. So, yeah, we sometimes find holy work together that way. Let's ask Anne about Pope Benedict and how she was motivated to reach out to Amy.
I guess, pretty early on in his pontificate, I started reading his work, and I think I even watched an interview the evening of his installation as Pope. And I was just so impressed by his opening homily that I thought, gee, this is not the impression that I had been given of this kind of strict Germanic cardinal. And so I thought, gee, he seems awfully lovely. And he spoke so beautifully. And then when I had heard that he was going to be doing this interview with young children, that really fascinated me. The thought of this scholar speaking to little kids who had just received their first Holy Communion. So I made sure that I watched a video of it and read it. And that's when it really occurred to me that this is something that should be made into a children's book.
And it's beautiful too, Anne.
I love that you have that inspiration. I know a friend of mine in Los Angeles who's a great artist as well. And she and I talked several times about, I write more and she's really good at drawing. And I thought, it'd be fun. I have this idea for a children's book. But I think I lack your persistence because we never did do anything with that. So can you talk more about your friendship and how that has maybe inspired or aided your working relationship?
Sure. I do have to say, though, that it was really unlike me to do what I did with Amy. I might make a suggestion and then I kind of doubt myself and say, no, that seems kind of ridiculous. But there was something, I'm just going to say the Holy Spirit was certainly involved in this and really helped me to be much more persistent than I normally am, and perhaps even more disciplined than I normally am. And that's why I kept at it because I knew what a busy person Amy is, and she's a mom of a bunch of kids and has a lot of other things going on. But we really did hit it off. We saw eye to eye on things. I think we respected each other's abilities. And I would say that Amy has a very good eye as well. So I think we were able to communicate well from an artistic perspective. We just, we enjoyed working with each other, even though initially it was really just via email. And I can't believe, you're right, Amy. I think it is about 10 years, and that's really hard to believe. But it's been a very important friendship in my life, without a doubt.
Amy, what is the creative process of the two of you working together like from your end?
From my end, it's me praying that Anne comes up with good ideas, so I have to do this work. But actually, it's even though she's the artist and I'm the writer, what's interesting, has always been really interesting to me, is that we sort of feed each other. And so she has really good ideas for the text. And in fact, the plot of the book, Bambinelli Sunday, was her idea. That was her, the fruit of several sort of courses in her life. And that was her idea. And she has suggestions for stories, and I have suggestions for the picture. So, but the process is, since we live in different parts of the country, I live in Alabama and she lives on Long Island, we do have to do this via email for the most part. We get together, I think maybe every couple of years, but we usually don't talk work when we get together. It's my excuse to go to New York and see Anne. But, it's just a lot of back and forth and sharing, sharing sketches with me at first, because I think it's, one of the things I want to say about Anne that is important for people to know is that so many artists now, especially illustrators, do most of their work on computer. And Anne doesn't do that. She does paintings, like real live watercolor paintings for all these illustrations. She she can talk more about how she tweaks the color and so on computer, but she does real paintings, and they're just gorgeous watercolor paintings. And so she sends me sketches, she sends me images, I send her text, we work together, and then together we, fight battles with editors. Work very cooperatively with editors, and somehow in the end a book comes out of it, and we're really proud of all 4 of them. It's been it's a long, but it's never a painful process. It's always a lot of fun.
Oh, that's lovely. We're going to take a short break now, and we'll be back to talk more about the message of your books and the inspiration of the Holy Father.
Yes. Please join Christie and I as we head out to the streets for our On the Street segment.
Woman, be who you are. Woman, be who you are. You can be who you are. With Christ in your heart, you'll set the world on fire. Woman, there's no greater power than he who's working in you. Woman.
Friendships. They come in all shapes and sizes. Some are closer to us, some are a little more distant, but they all help us to become better people. As Catholic women, we all know how important it is to have close Catholic friends who can not only help us but become better people, but ultimately help us on our journey to heaven, to become saints, to become the people that God made us to be. Today, Christie is going to interview her nieces and her goddaughters who are going to tell us what they think about friendship.
What do you girls think about when I say friendship? What does it mean to have friends?
To love friends. 2 people, they start spending time together, then they love each other. Then they start playing each other every day, and then they are best friends.
Good.
And now,
Yay! Yeah, so friends spend time together, they get to know each other.
and they get to play with each other all the time. They get to socialize with each other. And they get to call each other. And they feel comfortable near them, and they can tell secrets.
Yeah, that's a good one. You can tell secrets to your friends, right?
You know what they're feeling by looking at their eyes. Really? And they won't tell other people your secrets because they know you really well. And they won't try to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, a good friend doesn't try to hurt your feelings because you trust them, right? They have to keep those secrets. Unless it's something that could be dangerous. Then you should tell an adult, right?
Yeah.
If someone tells you something if they're getting hurt or something like that.
That isn't a secret.
Well, they might tell you, it's a secret, don't tell anyone.
Okay.
Who is one of your good friends?
Kitty and Kailani.
Kitty and Kailani?
And Julie and Sophia.
Why are they your friends?
Cause the first time I met Kitty was in summer school. So Kitty said, hi, my name's Kitty. What's yours? And I said, my name's Isabella. It's Kitty for short, and Catherine's her real name.
Oh, okay.
And then I met Kailani when Kitty and I had a play date, and Kailani was coming over too. And then we became best friends that day.
Why are your friends your good friends?
Because Abby shares the same name with me, and she shares a lot of favorites.
You have things in common.
Many things.
Oh. So what do you girls think about, so it's good to have a lot of different kinds of friends, but do you think it's important to have friends, because you're all Catholic, you go to Catholic school, do you think it's important to have other friends who are also Catholic, who share your same faith? Yes? Why do you think so, Natalia?
I don't know. So you can pray with them.
So you can pray with them?
And sing with them.
And sing with them?
It's like when you find a person you might marry, they have to be Catholic.
Okay. Yeah, you want to marry someone who's Catholic?
They are your best friend, too.
That is nice. Yeah, you can marry your best friend if they happen to be a nice young man.
Not me. Not me.
You're not going to marry your best friend?
I don't want to.
So why else do you think it's important to have other friends who are also Catholic? So we can pray and sing together.
Tell them what's troubling you, and you'll be able to have a closer relationship.
Yes.
You can and when you're grown up, you can have sleepovers, and you can invite them over, and you can have fun.
Yeah, you can have a lot of fun.
It's good to share the same faith, because then you can be able to tell them what you're feeling.
If you had to say one important thing about friendship in like one sentence, what would you say? How about each person will do it?
That you love your friends and you keep the promises with them.
That's a good one. What do you think?
About what?
If you had to say one thing that's important about friends or friendship in like one sentence, what would you say?
I think friendship is important because so you have somebody to play with at recess, and so you're not alone, and you can invite people in who are eating alone.
That's good. All right, what do you? We lost you. What do you think?
You have someone to be with, and they can last a lifetime.
Very good. Well, thanks, girls, for talking with me today about friends and friendship. I'm glad I have you guys as friends. I really like hanging out with you. And when we went to adoration, that was really fun.
Welcome back. We're talking about creative friendship with Amy Welborn and Anne Engelhart.
I am curious to know more from a female perspective. You know, it's very common that in general, there's different rivalries. There are different rivalries with women. How do you, how do you cultivate this friendship, this Catholic friendship, and learn from one another, from your virtues? This is more from a spiritual side, a spiritual perspective, and also spiritually, also seeing that you both have this love for Pope Emeritus' writings.
Well, I guess I would say in terms of competition, certainly Amy and I don't think we've ever had any kind of an experience of that. We both have our own areas of expertise, if you will. And even though a lot of times it overlaps, I just have tremendous respect for her. And so I can't honestly say I've ever felt any competition in any way. But in terms of the Pope Emeritus, I think perhaps, and I'm speaking for you, Amy, but one thing that he spoke of often, and well, of course, it was the title of the first book we did together, which was called Friendship with Jesus. And everything he did was always pointing you to Jesus Christ. And another thing that was very important to him was the idea of beauty, and beauty in faith, the beauty of the faith, using our own ability to create beauty to help to evangelize the faith. And that's something that Amy and I share. And so that was very important to us. And I think we both were very inspired by many of the things he has said and written about. He did meet with artists a number of years ago, and he gave a very beautiful talk where he said that artists are the custodians of beauty. And in fact, there's even an organization called the Catholic Artists Society in New York. And it was founded for that because of this meeting that Pope Benedict had with artists. And so it's a wonderful opportunity for artists to get together. So I think both being a writer and being a painter, illustrator, we felt very fed, I would say, in our faith and in our ability and our desire to create beauty through the writings and the teachings of Pope Benedict.
I think something that is not well known, even within the Catholic Church, is the church's understanding of beauty. You talked about the value of beauty in evangelizing. The church's understanding of authentic beauty and the power to speak God's presence into the world is just not well enough known among Catholics. I mean, it seems like we're too quick to, as a culture, to not appreciate beautiful old churches and statuary and stained glass and all of that, which speaks to our senses and helps us to make contact with what's transcendent and might be abstract for us mentally. But somehow the falling and the rising of the congregation at Mass, the incense, the music, all of us speaks to us of God. And that's what our senses, I think, are for.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that Amy could speak to on a more of a philosophical level about beauty and the importance of it in communicating our faith, in experiencing and in sharing our faith.
Take it away, Amy.
Well, I think what occurred to me as you were talking was the fact that what Anne and I are trying to do is to communicate exactly what you were talking about, Lisa, to children. What we want to do is put beautiful things in the hands of children. We want them to open a book and see, beautiful pictures of beautiful places, whether they be churches or people's homes or families or Assisi, the beautiful hills of Italy, God's nature, and to match that up with, I hope, beautiful words, at least spoken by Pope Benedict, they're beautiful. So, like you said, Lisa, as an educator too, you know this well, that it's so important for children from an early age to understand that message about beauty and how it's tied to God and God's hope and God's grace in our lives. And so what we're trying to do in some small way is to bring that message and that truth to children.
Do your own children, Amy, ever respond to these books in a way that encourages you to go on?
Well, my youngest children are now older. They're now 11 and 15. Okay. And so, but we've been working on them for a while. Yes, they do. They do respond to them. And I will say that my own appreciation of what we try to do, what Anne tries to do in the pictures, is really formed in my mind by, decades of reading children's books to children, right? And how when they latch on a favorite book that you're not crazy about, how miserable that can make you. But what we tried to do was to make books that can be read over and over. And with Anne's contribution and her art, to make very detailed art that is, a child could never tire of looking at and discovering new things in, and therefore sort of communicating kind of the same thing about life and the world, that, the life that we live on earth, the life that we've given by God, is something that we can never tire of if we have our eyes open. And so it's something, again, that we're trying to communicate through the books.
Beautiful. What a beautiful mission to share as friends.
Right.
In what ways has sharing this friendship made a difference in your own spirituality?
It's impacted me a great deal. First of all, it's wonderful to have an artist as a friend. I'm in awe of her talent. And there's just something about the mindset of an artist. And, in a way, I'm a creative person myself. You just sort of understand each other. And so there's been that. And secondly, I think, the fact that we both share this affection and appreciation of Pope Emeritus Benedict has been very helpful over the past few years. We can, share information and share that appreciation and share his writings and talk about his writings, and really both grow in our faith because of that.
Beautiful.
I love that idea of calling each other on and continuing to grow and share the faith with one another. So many times in friendships, it's easy to just talk about everything else and maybe skim over some of the faith. But I think it's so neat that that's influenced your friendship and clearly your work as well.
Anne, would you like to have the closing thought about how this has all impacted your walk with God?
Sure. I would say Amy's really been a tremendous help to me on a spiritual level, because as you know, she does a lot of writing for daily journals and things, and she has a wonderful blog, and she's written some great books. And she has an ability to kind of get to the heart of the matter and to look at things from a perspective, I think that's really kind of unique. And so I've just learned a tremendous amount from her, and it's definitely deepened my own faith. It's caused me to look at things on a much deeper way, and I've really grown a lot, I think, as a person because of my friendship with Amy, and because my faith has developed in such a way.
Wow, it's really touching to me just how much the two of you are quick to praise each other, just how much you appreciate each other's gifts. And I think that's really a good lesson to all women in our friendships, because the culture can make us feel competitive, like as you brought up. But the two of you have really become supports and real sisters. At least that's what I'm sensing.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you both so much for the gift of your time and this beautiful friendship story.
And the example of friendship.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been really a great opportunity.
God bless you both.
Thank you.
That was very beautiful how they would speak very highly of each other, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's the beauty of friendship, and also just kind of complimenting one another, you know. Even on the set here, I've just kind of, you know, felt that we've come closer and getting to know each other a little bit more, you know, your wisdom, you know, Christie's just joy and, you know, spontaneity, you know, it's really beautiful to admire one another. And like you said, our culture doesn't normally lend to that.
Lovely. Well, I don't think we could have wrapped up any better than that. I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and may God bless your friendships.
And if you want to continue supporting the work of Shalom in evangelization, please go to www.shalomworld.org/donate.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook. If you have any questions or comments, you can always email us as well. Just write to womanb@shalomworld.org.
And remember, we'll be praying for you, so please pray for us too. Bye now.